Hi guys, I know a lot of people have been asking for this. So this is my sinus treatment protocol. Many of you know me as the Emotion Body Belief Code practitioner, but I am also a licensed massage therapist and a lymphedema therapist. So in my practice, I came up with a protocol to help with sinus drainage. So if you have allergies, chronic sinusitis, even like sinus headache type things, these are going to be things that really, really will help you. Okay, so it combines manual lymphatic drainage with acupressure, so it makes it more effective. So you can do either one first, but I'm going to start with the manual lymphatic drainage. So the first thing you need to know about the lymphatic system, very, very briefly, it all empties out behind the clavicle here, your collarbone. So basically what you want to do is you want to clear that area, and that will help lymphatic drainage throughout your entire body. So that's always the first one. The second thing about lymphatic drainage, the type of massage is super light. You do not want to engage the muscle, right? So you want to stretch the skin. So if I show you on my hand here, it's not a downward pressure as if you're massaging in. You're stretching. You're literally, you see how I'm stretching the skin? That's what you want to do. You're stretching the skin because that moves. It's almost like suction. It moves the lymphatic fluid along where you want it to go. So you're always going to move from the direction that you want it to go in. That's where you're going to start because you're basically pulling it down, or pulling it up, depending on what part of the body you're working on, to the area that you want it to go to. So ultimately, it all has to go here because that's where it gets dumped into the bloodstream and gets processed by the body, so you pee it out. All right, so let's get started. So what we're going to do, there's two moves. So the first move you're going to do is you're going to do gentle pumping motions. You're going to find that clavicle, and just above it, you're going to do gentle pumps with your fingertips, okay? Just gentle, slow pumps. And this is going to clear that exit, you know what I mean? It's kind of like cleaning the sewer exit, so things can flow there. Because if you have a blocked sewer, nothing's going anywhere, right? And that's where you end up getting a lot of swelling and inflammation and buildup of fluid in the tissues because it could be blocked. So if you have lymph nodes that are congested, it's going to block all the fluid from going anywhere. So usually it depends on how frequently you do this. So I do this pretty frequently, so I don't need to do it for that long. Maybe about 5 to 8 pumps for me. But if you're very congested or you've never had this done, you could do it up to 20 times. So that's the first step, okay? And just doing that is going to help your body tremendously. All right, so the next thing you want to do, we want to pull everything down, right, from the head and the sinuses. So what you want to do is put your fingertips on the top of your shoulders. Now this needs to be done on bare skin. It doesn't work when you have clothing in between. All right, so you're going to have your fingertips flat, and they're going to be at the top of your shoulders. And what you're going to do is you're going to stretch the skin down, just very gently. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of movement, but you're going to pull the skin down towards the clavicle, right? And you're going to do this at least 4 times. I'd say between 4 and 8 times. Okay, so then I'm going to do it like 4. Maybe I'll lose count a little bit. The next thing is going to be on the side of the neck. So you can do it this way. I find it easier to do it this way, and I do it in 2 sections. So the lower neck, I'm going to be pulling the skin down. You don't want to press hard. They say that it's the pressure of a dime. That's the most amount of pressure. You don't want to push into the muscle because if you're doing that, you're actually blocking the flow of lymph. So then you're going to move up a little bit more on the side of the neck. Move up. Okay. So you're basically either pulling or you're clearing lymph nodes, or decongesting lymph nodes, I should say. This, you may feel your ears clearing or your ears popping when you do it. All right, so the next one you want to do, you have a bunch of lymph nodes under your jaw here. So you can use your thumb or you can use your fingers, and you just want to gently, like those pumps that we were doing here, you want to gently do that. Push up gently. And I could feel, you'll start to feel your sinuses draining down your throat. And I haven't even gotten up to where the sinuses are yet. It may feel a little tender, which is fine. Eventually, you'll get sensitive and figure out when the lymph nodes are congested and when they're not. You'll be able to feel it, you know. So just putting gentle pressure on them, it's kind of like you're pumping them, so you're helping them get out. So that's it with the lymph nodes. So now we're going to do the drainage of the face. So there's two paths that you're going to go. These lymph nodes drain stuff from here down, right? So if you have any swelling here, you're gonna put it down into these lymph nodes. So this is also good, like if you have any sort of infection in your mouth, you know, say you have like an abscessed tooth or something, this is really good for that. So, you know, you're gonna start, you want them to go here, right? So you're gonna pull down. You're gonna do that. You don't have to if you're not having any teeth things, but I usually just like to do it just so I get everything. Now, everything else in the face has to go towards the ear, okay? So you're gonna start at the ear, and you're gonna, you know, flat hand, flat fingertips, and you're gonna gently pull, and you can see the skin being stretched. Gently pull, gently pull. Now each section, I would do at least 4 times. You could do more. And then you move up a little bit. So now you're kind of under the eye area. And you're going to do this on both sides of the face. Eventually you get up to the eyelid, and you're going to just stretch that skin. I know it's hard to see what I'm doing, but I think you can see that the skin is pulling. And then when you get higher, you're going to be on the forehead, and you just go to the midline. You don't cross over the midline, because there's a barrier there for the lymphatic system. Your fluid has to drain in a particular way. You, like through the whole midline of your body, it doesn't cross over. So you have to, you know, move it to where it's going to be able to drain. So you're going to do that on the other side, and then you're going to do the acupressure. But first, I forgot to mention, when you're done with all of that, you want to go back and make sure this is still clear, because now you just moved a bunch of fluid, and you don't want it, you know, you don't want that to get clogged up again or congested. So just do this again several times, and you should be good with that. All right, so now we're going to do the acupressure points. There are 6 points that I use. I know there's more, but these are my favorite points, and I found that they work very, very well. The first one is called large intestine 20, and it's right next to your nostrils here. So what you're going to do is you're going to put pressure here. You may feel tender, and don't be afraid to use some pressure. I mean, you know, not enough pressure where you're going to like break anything, but you want to put a decent amount of pressure. And each of these points, you can hold anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. I usually do it 1 to 2 minutes. I don't do it less than a minute, but for the sake of time in this video, I'm not going to do the full minute. Okay, so The second one is stomach 2 and 3. So that's under the midline of the eye. Like you'll feel your eye socket here. You'll go down just a tad, and instead of pushing like this, kind of put your fingers flat. And if you push there, you get both points at the same time. Now, a lot of these points, they serve similar but a little bit different purposes. So some of them are great for headaches, some of them are great for the sinus pressure, some of them are good for the mucus. Like the one next to the nose is really good for improving your sense of smell if you've lost it, especially during a cold. Some of them are good for congestion or even eye strain or itchy eyes. All right, the next one is bladder 2. And how you find that is you go to the inner part of your eyebrow and you feel around, and you're going to feel a little dip in there. You want to be in that dip. This point offers me, I think, the most relief, at least the most noticeable relief immediately. Like this one, once you hold this for like a minute, when you go past the minute point, you really start feeling your sinuses, things are moving around in there. All right, the next one is a single point. It's called yin tong, and that's in between your eyebrows. It's also like the area you'd refer to as your third eye. So that's another point that you can use. And this is a very balancing point too. You know, a lot of these points do different things, not just sinus stuff. So when you do acupressure, you'll be getting other benefits as well. The next one is gallbladder 14, midline of the eye again, and you're going to go straight up about an inch above your eyebrows, and that's the gallbladder 14 point. I feel it. Okay, now there's one more point, and it's on the hand, but I need to warn you that this is a point that you should avoid during pregnancy. That's what I learned in school. Tell people to not use this point if you're pregnant because it brings the energy down. So it technically could cause you to go into labor before you're supposed to. Now, I can't verify this. I don't know. That's just what I was taught in school. This point is on the hand. So it's between the thumb and the pointer finger in this fleshy area. So let's see if I can show you here. All right. So you're going to find, you got this mushy, fleshy area. So you're going to go to like the highest point of it, right? And then you can like open up your hand and you're going to feel around in there. And when you find a tender spot, and 99.9% of the time, you'll find it by how tender it is. Because if you have sinus issues or headaches, even migraines, this is a great point for that, because this is also known as the command point of the face. So if you have any of those issues, that spot will be tender, all right? So you can only do one side at a time, but you want to hold that point too and do it on the other hand. Make sure you do both sides. All right, now I also want to mention that I use tuning forks, okay, when I do this treatment on people, because the tuning forks put a deep vibration into those acupressure points, and it really makes it much more effective because it's vibrating everything, and you can really get those sinuses moving, and draining much better with these. So I use the 136.1 hertz. These are called body tuners because they have these little weights on them. The other ones kind of just look like this, and those are more for listening. This one, you actually put the stem of the tuning fork on the body. So if I was going to use it, I would hit it on the palm of my hand. You may or may not be able to hear it, but you can see it vibrating. And you would put it on the point that you want. And you can almost feel it sucking in the vibration of the tuning fork. Now, you want it to be specific frequencies. I picked the 136.1. It's also known as the frequency of Ohm, or it's a variation of the Schumann resonance, the frequency of the Earth rotating around the sun. It's very grounding, very balancing. You will find if you do any research on tuning forks, there's so many different frequencies that you can buy. This is overall my favorite. So if you want to get into tuning forks, I would suggest this frequency. Or 128 hertz, that's another good one. But this one is the most grounding, and you can listen to these too. It just centers you. So I used to use these when I was in school. You know what I mean? If I'm stressed out, I have a test coming up before test, I would sit there, hit them and just listen to the frequency. And it's very grounding, very balancing. The specific brand I use is Omnivos, and they're available on the Big A. In my bio, there's a link tree that has my favorite things in there, and these are in there. A direct link to the specific ones that I use. They're made in the USA. They are aluminum, which you want. I've tested different ones. These test really, really well, and they hold the frequency the longest because they can go out of tune, just like an instrument. So these are really good quality, and they will last a very long time. So if you use the link that's in my link tree under my favorite things, I get a tiny bit of commission because I am an affiliate. And even if you don't buy these or any of the things in that list, anything you purchase, I think within 24 hours, I make a little commission. So I would appreciate that because it's a little bit of how, I make my income. But anyway, I hope you found this helpful, and you can do it every day if you want. Don't be shy. It may take a few weeks before you have a significant change in, the situation with your sinuses, depending on how bad it is, how chronic it is. But I used to take 2 different medications, and after doing this I probably did it about 4 to 6 weeks, either daily or every other day, and I was able to come off of those. But everybody's different, and I'm not a doctor. I can't treat, diagnose, anything like that. I'm just telling you my experience, and I'm not against the medications, but I always feel that if there's a natural way you can do it, I prefer to do it that way. And yes, it takes time, but it's so beneficial to you. There's, like I said, there's other benefits to using the tuning forks with the specific frequencies. It's very grounding, plus the acupressure points. And you know what they say, if you don't set aside time for your wellness, you'll be forced to set aside time for your illness. And I definitely know that to be true, because I used to just go and neglect myself. I believe that health is multifaceted. Sometimes there are physical things that we need to do, and sometimes there are energetic, or emotional things that we need to take care of, like reducing the stress in our life. So I kind of help people with all of that stuff. And I'm retired as far as doing the massage, so that's why I'm not doing this treatment actively for people anymore. So that's why I wanted to share it with you guys, because I think people will really benefit from it. And that's the bottom line. If I can help people, that's my goal. As far as business, I do work remotely, and I do Emotion Body Belief Code. It helps people with stuck, trapped emotions that you have from past painful experiences or trauma. It helps you be able to move forward. And it also addresses faulty core belief systems that are blocking you or preventing you. Like sometimes if you have a faulty belief that you can't heal, or you're unworthy of love, you're never going to achieve those things that you want in life. So I can help find those things and release those for you. Sometimes we can put new programs in. It's really quite fascinating. And in my case, I was able to address several physical issues that I was having. by doing this emotional release work. I also advocate for doing forgiveness work, and I have a very specific way of helping people do this. So anyway, if you made it this long, congratulations. But feel free to contact me. The links are all in my bio. You can send me a message on whatever platform you're watching this on, and I would love to have a chat. And I hope this helps. Please let me know in the comments, and share this out if you know anyone that this could benefit. Because I know it's that time of year right now, at least while I'm recording it. It's the end of May. Really, big allergy season at this point. And I know a lot of people are struggling. So share it out, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, or, friend request me or whatever. I'm more than happy to accept all of it. And I hope you guys have a great day.